Welcome back. You're still tuned in to Salam Media with myself, Salailo Makwidir. And as I mentioned before we went to the break, we're still getting responses from pro-Palestine activism organizations here in South Africa on the assassination of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh by an Israeli airstrike in Tehran. We got those news earlier this morning. And joining us in a bit via our virtual platform is Professor Usuf Chikte, who's going to be giving us the reaction of the Palestine Solidarity Campaign. Professor Chikte, thank you so much for joining us and welcome to Salam Media.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum to all your viewers and listeners. And thank you for inviting me.
I think first and foremost, I think one thing that a lot of people were thinking about after hearing the assassination of Ismail Haniyeh is how will this be affecting the peace negotiations and the broader struggle for Palestinian people's rights? What do you make of it? He was one of the chief negotiators. It's quite clear what the Israeli genocidal machine modus operandi is at this point, to make sure that there's no legitimate representation of the Palestinian people to sit on a round table with. From your point, what did you make of it?
Yeah, firstly, the Israeli regime is in negotiations with Hamas, and they assassinated one of the negotiators, the late Ismail Haniyeh. That's the first thing. So that's an indication of how they negotiate. They've also expressed the intention to get rid of the leadership, to eliminate the entire Hamas and get rid of the leadership. And this feeling has been echoed by the European Union, the United States, Great Britain. So it has come, and thirdly, one must remember this is not the first time that they have tried to assassinate and decimate Palestinians, and especially the political leadership. This must have been at least the fourth time that they tried to assassinate Ismail Haniyeh, and they've tried many times before. This is also, in terms of the Hamas leadership, you'd recall, your viewers would recall that they assassinated Sheikh Yassin, they assassinated Aziz Rantisi, all in the leadership. They think that if they decapitate the organization, then the organization will go away. But by the way, the Ismail Haniyeh has lost at least 60 members of his close family, including his sons, grandchildren, 3 sons, more than 4 grandchildren, if I'm not mistaken, and his sister as well. And during this time, I was so impressed with his integrity, with his posture, with his imposing figure, statesmanship, like when he said, the life of his family is no less sacred than the life of every other Palestinian, who the Lancet has indicated more than 180 will be dead in terms of the estimates. So in terms of the peace process, Ismail Haniyeh's son made a statement today that it won't derail it. And that's precisely what the Israelis are trying to do, Netanyahu in particular. And throughout his life, Ismail Haniyeh has dedicated himself exceptionally, distinguishably, in terms of the unity of the land. He was uncompromising about Palestinian land, not to give an inch away. The unity of its people and the unity of the resistance, which was re-emphasized recently at the Beijing Declaration. And what has happened every time that Israel does something like this, it unites the Palestinians even more. What happens when Israel does something like this, when they try to assassinate them, people come together and increase their resolve and the resistance and the resilience. So there is not, it's a great loss, understandably, personally, to the family and because he was a much loved leader. Unlike Netanyahu, he's a very hated leader in Israel itself. So it won't. So the different factions of the Palestinian resistance have condemned this. They've called for unity, and they've called for a continuation of the resistance around this. So that is in the face.
Mm. And just to jump in there, Prof, from a solidarity movement point of view, what would be the right response to this? Where to from here for those that are in the solidarity movement space?
Yeah. So in South Africa, currently, we have our work cut out. After Netanyahu went to present his case in the United States, shortly after that, and he called for an attack on Iran. And this is what they're doing. They're a threat to world peace. They're attacking Lebanon. They're attacking Syria. They're attacking Yemen. Now they're attacking Iran again. And the president of Iran has indicated that this attack on Iranian soil won't go with impunity. So in terms of the solidarity movement, and I would like to point out to you that recently the chief rabbi of South Africa, Warren Goldstein, made a video about the need to attack Iran. So they have an international consortium of persons, and in South Africa, they have the Gauleiters, they have the leaders as well, which amplify the genocide over there. So what we need to do in South Africa is to ensure that South Africa doesn't become a platform to increase the genocide or to escalate, to support and aid and abet the genocide, the apartheid, the settler colonialism, the ethnic cleansing that is taking place. And we need to put pressure on our government to condemn Israel for it, to ensure that the supporters in South Africa, the wings are clipped in terms of the law, that they don't recruit to the IDF, that we stand in solidarity with the boycott, with the deputy minister for sports, arts and culture, that we support a view and we rein in Mackenzie, who's called for the attack on Hamas. We want to make the call that he should be out of the cabinet and out of parliament for disobeying and disregarding government policy and for his actions, which in essence is a contravention of our law and our statute and the Rome Statute, where he has called for the hunting down of Hamas. So there's a lot of things that we must do immediately in solidarity with the Palestinians on several fronts. There were meetings today in Wales Street outside the provincial parliament, wanting us to hold Mackenzie to account for his unbelievable statements. He's in the government of national unity, but he acts like a rogue, just like the Israeli prime minister is acting like a rogue. So we're going to intensify and escalate the pressures that we put to bear on the government. We're putting forward a bill in parliament to boycott and isolate Israel. And that is what we are about to do. We will continue with our protests to mount the pressures on the South African government to kick Israel out of South Africa, to keep Israel out of the United Nations, to call for a Unite for Peace resolution. We're also calling on companies not to invest in Israel, and particular concern is the coal that we send to Israel, which fuels the war, which fuels the genocide, which fuels the apartheid. So that is one of the things. We've also written to the Public Investment Corporation, handling about R1 trillion of our pension funds, to ensure that that funding isn't invested in Israel. Those are some of the broad issues that we're calling for in our, that we want to do, practical things that we want to do in a broad call. No trade with Israel. Don't play with apartheid sport. Don't a complete diplomatic and trade embargo on Israel and a cessation of any arms to Israel.
All right, we're going to leave it there. Professor Usuf Chikte, coordinator of the Palestine Solidarity Campaign, giving us their reaction to the assassination of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh. We're going to leave it here for now. Just like so much.
Thank you. All the best.
All right, there you have it. You're still tuned in to Salam Media with myself, Salalo Makwilire, and this is Salam Media Highlights. And today we are focusing solely on the reactions of South African solidarity movements, Palestine solidarity movements, on the assassination of Ismail Haniyeh. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, still sticking with the theme, we'll be speaking to Khalid Vauda, the founder of Social Intifada, to get their reactions on the assassinations of Ismail Haniyeh right after the break.